Hello and welcome back to another episode of UpGrade with Maria Kay, the podcast where your success, freedom and happiness get a weekly upgrade. And what a pleasure it is again to have you here in this space. You are a blessing to me, and it is my wish that you receive and absorb every single miracle blessing that we are going to be co-creating in this space right now. Today's theme is how to draw upon our pains, our struggles, and our obstacles to create radical upgrades in our life. Now, I know this is true for me, and I'm pretty certain it will be the same for you. We are no stranger to struggle. We've been through our fair share of bleak moments. If I speak personally, there have been many times where I've needed to literally scrape myself off of the floor in order to shuffle my way through some kind of a day. And this may go on for a single day. It may span out over months and weeks and years even. It's a part of life that's really real, and sometimes one that isn't acknowledged in the world of spirituality and self-help. Sometimes it's really simple and easy to over-spiritualize and literally brush over the surface. Happy thoughts. If I say this affirmation over and over again, it'll come true. If I ignore what's happening, then it'll go away. But the most powerful thing we can do for ourselves is sit in acknowledgement for what is happening and what we are feeling. Feel your feelings. What I say to my clients and students all the time. Take some seconds, some minutes, even an hour. Feel exactly what you are feeling. Allow your emotions to freely flow through. Much like when a child has hurt itself or is in pain or is fearful, very often all we need to do is acknowledge the fear. Caress the injury. Give a hug, give a cuddle, a kiss, spend some time. So this is one of the most valuable pointers in and around the subject of pain and wounds and hurt and struggle, is to acknowledge, spend some time with the issue, feeling it fully. So this is the podcast where you get to tune in every week and utilize this space to allow your personal upgrade to be facilitated. So the fact that you're here indicates to me that you're ready for change. You're ready to uplift your life in some way, shape or form, whatever particular area of your life that you are currently unhappy with, or that you can see that there's room for improvement. The general pattern for me has been, out of a breakdown comes a breakthrough. Out of a low moment comes a super high moment. Out of rock bottom rises almost like the phoenix rising from the ashes. Do you relate to that? Has this ever happened to you where you felt there's no way out? You want to give up. It's too hard. Not me, not again. This can't be happening again. And then before you know it, you are emerging bigger and better than ever before. I cannot tell you the amount of times this has happened for me. And what I'd love to highlight, though, is that it gets better. We can get to a point where we don't have to break down in order to break through, that we don't have to be a sniveling mess on the floor in order to feel stronger or command that which we really want or feel we deserve in our life. It doesn't have to be that way forever. However, the power that lies in a breakdown moment. A moment where you feel for a second, I can't do this, where despair sets in. And for me, the fact that I'm here speaking to you right now indicates that I didn't give up. I didn't allow my circumstances, my events, my divorce, the infidelity of my ex-husband, my eating disorders, my bankruptcy. The list is pretty endless, right? I didn't let all of those things break me. In fact, I allowed them to make me. There's a saying, and I'm going to be paraphrasing, and I don't remember who the author of the quote is, that use your problems, use your struggles as stepping stones to get to where you want to be. And I love that concept. I love the imagery. I love just the whole being resourceful with whatever life is throwing you. Okay, so you want to throw me bankruptcy. Okay, so you want to throw me depression, right? How can I use this? And for me, and for many people who are doing the similar work to what I do, we use our bleak moments, the difficulties in our life, to be of pure, unconditional service. In other words, to really help people like you get to where you want to be a lot quicker than maybe it took me or my fellow counterparts. The amazing thing is about our problems, our blockages, our breakdowns, they are such amazing teachers, right? And I love, if you follow social media or Facebook, that a lot of people actually in the segment where it says education, a lot of people are putting now University of Life. And I adore that. And that's not to say that we negate the power of a formal education, but you really cannot take away the value of getting stuck into life, right? Jumping feet first into a colourful, adventurous, really getting into the nitty-gritty of life, right? When someone says they've had a colourful life, you know that they've said yes to what life has got to offer them, right? You know that they've said yes to the adventures, to the risks, to the uncertainties, okay? There's just not much else that's so powerful. So where we are now, we're talking about upgrades, we're talking about powerful transformations, we're talking about uplifting the quality of life that we're experiencing on a daily basis, but also in the long term, right? At the moment with my VIP clients in the group sessions that we do each week, they work with me one-on-one, but we also have a complimentary group session where I get to teach content, take them through deep transformational processes, shift energy, shift blockages, create powerful energy momentum. So at the moment we're talking about our ascension plan, creating a strong, authentic, love-infused plan for the next year. And as I say, you wouldn't expect a builder to start building a property or a house or a building without the blueprint, without the architect's design. It's pretty difficult and impossible almost. So it's the same for when we're taking our life into our own hands, when we're designing our life, right? There's far more power. We're far more highly likely to succeed if we have some kind of a plan. All right, when you go to see, if you're building a property from scratch and you go and see the architect, you sit and you have a meeting. They ask you, what do you want from this property? What is important to you? What do you love? What's non-negotiable? And it's the same for your life, right? So when we are creating this mind map, this forward planning of this kind of ascension plan. So ascension means obviously to go up, to create height, to create improvement rather than descending. So having a very clear idea of where you want to be, what you want to do. And that's what we're doing at the moment with my students and clients. And we're not leaving anything to chance, right? And I speak a lot of serendipity and divine timing and the flow of the universe and highest good and divine timing. And of course, it all has its place. But as I say, pretty much each week, and for fear of being deemed a broken record, and I'm not even fearful of it. I can't say it enough. I can't stress it enough. You are the creator of your own reality. Your thoughts, your ideas, your actions, your feelings, your emotions, what you focus on, it are the sum total of your everyday life, of your reality. So when you have been through a breakthrough, the great opportunity there is you get so much clarity of what you do not want, right? So for example, when I was going through my eating disorders, hating my body every single day, really forcing myself to do things in the form of activity and exercise that I didn't want to do, maybe eat things that I really didn't want to eat, or restricting myself as if I was on a prison campus or in a prison cell, right? Total self-hate, total preoccupation with the way I looked, right? My flabby bits and my bum looks big, or I'm ugly, or I'm awful, or no one's ever going to love me for who I am, right? I created so much of what I didn't want, and I got to a point where it was so powerfully impinging on my happiness, on my quality of life, and I certainly wasn't free. I was chained to this illness. This illness chained me to the way I looked, the food that I was eating. So what I was able to do after quite a while, too long in my opinion, too many months and years of struggle, but anyhow, what I ended up with was brilliant clarity of what I didn't want, but then also a very clear idea of what I did want. So we have to bless our struggles, if anything, because they allow us to get super clear on what we want. And when we are super clear on what we want, we can then create the blueprint for our life. So we talked last time about, or the previous time even, about awareness and connection and the value of having that ability just gradually developing as you move forward. There is no ability that has the power that connection does. So as we experience our struggles, as we experience our breakdowns, bringing in this element of being really present, super aware of what's happening, right? And also lifting off the need to be a victim, removing the tendency to blame other people, right? And standing up really tall, standing both feet firmly on the ground, and however hard it might be, literally owning your part in it. Not always easy, but very powerful and likely to move you forward, propel you forward even, far more quicker than swimming around in the, but he did, she did, why, it's not fair, oh, poor me, not me again, I want to give up, can't do this, help, 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 right? Swimming around in all of those negative, dense energies for longer than we really need to. As I said at the beginning of today's session, the value of owning, acknowledging and really feeling our feelings is massive. It will never not be important to feel your feelings, but it depends how long you stay there, and that is totally up to you, right? And you might be feeling now a little bit more clarity on where in the past you may have stayed in a situation maybe a little bit longer than was needed. You may have swum around in perhaps the poor me, right? The poor me girl or the poor me guy kind of mentality for a little bit longer than was necessary. Yeah, we've all done it. Happened to us all. Life can be really tough and cruel at times, right? Especially when you step onto this highway of personal development, spiritual development, awakening. They do say that when you are on the highway of awakening, there is no hard shoulder. There is nowhere to pull over and take a breath and pause, right? So very often when we are on this journey, things can come pretty quickly. The quicker the momentum of your journey towards greatness and upgraded quality of life, the more blocks and obstacles you're going to be witnessing and experiencing in a shorter space of time. So it can be exhausting, right? There have been many, many times when I've wanted to give up. That's where having someone to support me has been invaluable, right? My mentor and coach has been my everything, because as self-sufficient as I am, as clued up and aware and connected and powerful and strong as I am, there are those moments where life throws you more than one curveball, more than one obstacle, one after the other, and confusion sets in, and it just all becomes way too overwhelming, way too hard. So my time with my mentor and coach has been, and still is, absolutely invaluable. So this is where I recommend that you, aside from the support you get here every week with me, is that you really, really look at how can you upgrade your life in that level? How can you upgrade the level of support that you really are investing your time and energy into, right? I call it covering all bases. I call it double bagging, right? You know, when you go to the grocery store and you've bought quite a few heavy items, maybe some tins and some bottles, as well as some fresh produce, right? And it's all in one bag, and right, and you think, yeah, I'm not sure that's not going to last from me getting from A to B. I'm not sure. I'm not willing to take that risk, right? I want to get from A to B effortlessly, seamlessly, with ease. So I'm going to take 2 bags, right? It's almost like giving yourself a safety net. So in every block, every obstacle, every breakdown, there is an opportunity to take your life to the next level, the next rung of the ladder, a few more 100 meters up the mountain, to the next class of life. And that is the beauty of getting stuck into life, right? Jumping head first, feet first into life and saying yes to things that come your way. Right? They may cause a bit of chaos. They may create some experiences that you're not loving in that moment. But sometimes they come in that disguise. Sometimes they do bring forth an opportunity purely to get clarity. When I experience more of what I don't want, I then get clear on what I do want. And when I'm clear on what I do want, I can go after it. I can command it. I can call it forth, call it in with greater clarity, with greater focus, intention, and also with the belief that this is what I want and what I deserve. And I'm not willing to negotiate on that. For example, if you're creating a business and you're bringing in new clients and you're raising your prices, for example, because you've done the work, you've put the effort in, you've created the resources, worked hard to be where you are, and you're now commanding an increased price range. You deserve to have that be your reality, right? So you will believe it after you've experienced the latter or the opposite, right? If you're in a relationship and things haven't been up to the standard that you know they can be, Remember, we're always transforming, we're always improving. It's our very, very nature just by being human. So if you're in a relationship that maybe is getting a bit shabby around the sides, maybe the great practices that you had at the beginning have started to slip a little bit, life's getting in the way, there is no morning kiss in the morning, there is no hug just before bed, maybe date nights aren't happening as frequently, maybe children have come along and time as a couple isn't as readily available. But you are so into the relationship. You are so sure and certain that this is the perfectly where you need to be. So you have every right, now that you've experienced maybe some negative, maybe some adversity, maybe what you don't like at the moment. You have every right, every powerful, energetic intention to create what you do like, right? You have every desire, which then, as I've said before, our desires are mini previews of what is possible, right? So once you desire date night again or some affection from your partner, right? That is then going to bring about a higher upgrade, a deeper level of connection in that relationship, a more beautiful, loving energy, a reconfiguring of what's important and what isn't, right? In your job, in your family relationships, in your health. There is always, always, always room for the next level, reaching higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. You know, say on an airline, you're pretty limited to the level of upgrades that you can take, right? Once you've gone to business class and you go to first class, then not many airlines will give you the opportunity or the availability to upgrade even more, unless you then go for your private jet, right? But in life, we get to upgrade endlessly. There are no limits. There are no boundaries. How cool is that, guys? How amazing is that? That you don't ever have to stop upgrading your life. You don't ever have to say, well, that's it now. Can't go any further. I've reached the top. All right? Much like in the corporate world, you can only go so far. There are only so many positions. But when you work for yourself, when you have your own business, when you are an entrepreneur, right? Think about Richard Branson. How many upgrades he's experienced in his life, right? Business after business after business. There are no limits in reality. So as we are on this journey together, I want to remind you how limitless you are. So when you've experienced, or when you're going through a breakdown, the end of a relationship, someone's done you wrong, someone's treated you badly, maybe you got fired from your job, maybe the client said no, the potential client said no, maybe your children have been really challenging. Instead of allowing yourself to drop into victim mode, and focus purely on the problem, focus purely on what is troubling you and how horrible it is and how awful it is, I'd like to invite you to be a solution seeker and to ask yourself, how can I improve on this? What can I call forth that is better than what I'm experiencing now? What is the light in all of this darkness? Where is the light? One of my most favorite sayings is, there's always a flip side, right? There's always, always a flip side. When someone is doing a coin toss, right? And there's two people and you've been asked to call heads or tails, right? Now, whether you call heads or tails, there is no bad or negative or positive or good connected to either of those options. It's simply heads or it's simply tails, right? what is bad or good is our judgment, our perception, our idea of the outcome. And when we are invested or connected to or expecting, right, a certain outcome, that's when disappointment can set in. So, for example, if you've called heads because you maybe want to go, I don't know, maybe you want to go first in the line, or you want to not clean the dishes, right? And tails comes up, then automatically you are allowing negativity to seep in, right? Whereas if you called heads and tails comes up and you think, okay, great, I've got to do the dishes, right? Well, how can I make this opportunity? What's the opportunity here? How can I make and enhance this experience, right? You could maybe play that audio you've wanted to listen to, that audio book even, that webinar, that online seminar you've wanted to watch, play that in the background while you're doing that. Maybe you can put the phone on loudspeaker and catch up speaking to that long lost friend that you've been meaning to get in touch with for a while. You can put your favorite music on and dance your way through that chore, right? A very simple example there, but applicable to so many different things in life. But the main focus today is how we can utilize our breakdowns to create our strongest breakthroughs, our biggest upgrades. Some of my biggest turning points in my life have come after deep depression, deep, severe wrongdoings by other people for the sake of not wanting to label things wrong or right, or label other people or blame, right? Just to give it a plain description, right? Wrongdoings, when someone's cheated on you, when your partner spent all the money and left you bankrupt, or your ex-husband left you bankrupt, right? And for the sake of honoring our feelings, I'm going to give myself just that very little moment of, yeah, it was awful. It was something that I never, ever expected to experience in my life, especially when I'd been brought up to be told that if you follow our cultural blueprint, if you marry a Cypriot, if you do this and do that, blah, 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 if you're a good Cypriot girl, then you will be taken care of. Right, you'll never want for anything, you'll be looked after, life will be amazing, blah, 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 right? The dream. They have a saying, right, the American dream. Well, this was the Cypriot dream that I was sold, right? So it didn't work out that way, right? It didn't pan out just as I was told it would. And it sucked. I was left with 2 children, single parent at the age of 29. But most people are only just settling down, right? Didn't know who I was, what I wanted, totally lost. But I took the flip side, right? Luckily, I had continued my studies. Luckily, I had continued to be out there in the work environment, right? So I was able to fall back on, draw on my talents, my abilities, my connection with a certain group of people in the world, other women who were struggling with their body, with their weight, with the self-hate image, with home life, with really finding their voice, finding their true happiness, right? So I didn't stay in that place of self-pity for very long. In fact, what I used to do, because I acknowledged so deeply the need to feel my feelings, allow myself to be down in the dumps and cry and look at the photo albums of us as a family, right? And just allow myself to bawl and let it all out, But I still had to maintain life. I still had to run the house. I still had to take care of the kids and and work and create an income and salvage life. So what I used to do was Monday to Thursday, I would be this up together, get up straight away, get dressed, have the kids ready for school, blah, 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 do, work, see clients, and do everything that you do to maintain life, right? But Fridays was my let it all flop out day, right? Where I would just not get dressed, be in my pajamas all day. Or my sort of comfies, my slouchies, right? If I needed to cry, I would cry. If I needed to look at old albums, I would listen to the music that would trigger. Let it literally just run through me, allowing it. So that was how I really pushed through that period of time in my life. And it wasn't pretty. It doesn't always have to be pretty. Most people think that when you are on a journey of spiritual development, of personal development, that it's happy, 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 happy all the time. Don't focus on the bad. Don't look at the bad. Don't look at the garbage. Don't look at the wounds. Don't feel the pain. But pain is real, and pain is our lesson. It's our teacher. It leads us to where we need to go next. Because as you are here listening to this, it indicates to me that you are here to do really special things, to change the world, the lives of the people around you on a much bigger scale, whatever it is for you. So it's really important that you start to gradually develop the ability to utilize your breakdowns, the obstacles, the problems, whatever they may be, right? It may just be the traffic jam that's making you late for a meeting. How do you overcome that? You might meditate, you might put on a guided meditation, you could do your chanting, write in your journal if it's standstill traffic, right? Allow yourself to go deeper on this spiritual journey, even looking at how the concept of time can be an illusion, right? However big or small your block is or your challenge is, or the situation that's arisen, it's always an opportunity to grow and upgrade. Because upgrading isn't just about what's happening outside of us. It isn't just about what's manifesting, our car, the money in our wallet, right? The house, the new partner, the body, the physical body. It's not just what's happening externally, it's what's happening internally, your state of mind, how you show up for you and the people around you, your thoughts, your ability to be peaceful, whatever's going on around you. So today, that may be all that you see in the form of an upgrade. You may, sitting in standstill traffic, you may have nailed inner peace for that 2-hour stint of time. You may have nailed, for example, a peaceful approach when your 2-year-old is having a tantrum in the supermarket, rather than having a meltdown alongside with him or her. You may have developed the ability to practice instant forgiveness when your partner or spouse isn't behaving in a way that you love or that you like. So for now, it may just be an accumulation, a culmination, the grouping together of small mini upgrades. What is an upgrade? We can also call it a miracle. Right? So for me, if you've experienced the ability, if you've developed the ability to be peaceful, be forgiving, be calm, love more, love yourself more even, following on from the last episode where we talked about infusing the essence of love to create upgrades. They are all mini miracles on some level. So what can you do today to turn a breakdown into a breakthrough? How can you see something totally differently, with different eyes? with different glasses on, right? They used to talk about rose tinted glasses, right? I used to say to myself, I always see things with rose tinted glasses, and it used to sort of bother me, actually, maybe in my mid-teens. But no, once you've acknowledged what's going on, once you've felt what's going on, once you've allowed the emotions to be real and flow through you, it's then an opportunity to move forward, to live bigger, louder, stronger, be more of who you came here to be. You're here on a journey of awakening, a journey of improvement, progression, a journey to help other people experience what you are, right? So where and how in your life can you take the lessons that are presenting to you, showing up, right? Asking, what can I learn here? How can I improve? How can I get better? How can I release this? How can I take on that? It's always, 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 as we talked about in a previous episode, connection and awareness. So how can you connect right in to whatever's happening around you right now and upgrade it, uplift it, and welcome in a heightened level of success, freedom and happiness today? I'm sending you as much love as you can possibly absorb in this moment.